Welcome, everyone. We are here for another installment of our Margins Community Programming, our third installation of our Denver Debut series, which we are so excited to host. For those of you who this is the first time, I am Vinyanka Prasad. I'm the Executive Director of the organization The Word, a storytelling sanctuary. We are an organization that promotes voices from the margins. We are also the organization that is hosting the Margins Conference, out of which this community programming has started. We're really excited to announce that that is a new conference that is for real now, because we just hit our Kickstarter goal yesterday. So fully funded and coming your way August 1st and 2nd to virtually. So this isn't a conference about diversity. It's the space for us where we get to connect with our strongest voices and with each other in community. So we cannot wait to make that happen. And we're so glad to have gotten to, use this crazy pandemic to push it out a little bit and do some of this programming well before August. So thanks for joining us. I do want to take a moment today to just recognize some community within our community. And I want to take a moment to just recognize the brutality and inhumanity that the Black community has faced over and over again from our systems and from people in our society. And I think it's important to take note today that we stand in solidarity just in this moment, recognizing that at the forefront of our minds is the immediate need for that to change. And so there are some friends here at Margins who are just standing in support. And I know that I'm feeling so much for just the anger and exhaustion and heartbreak. But we are here today to celebrate because some of our friends are making some cool shit, and we get to hear about it and see it today. So let me introduce to you the two amazing authors who we are going to be hearing from. With us today is Olivia Abtahi. Growing up in the DC area, Olivia devoured books and hid in empty classrooms during school to finish them. Her debut novel, Perfectly Parvin, will be published with Penguin Random House Putnam Books for young readers, with forthcoming novels from Lee and Low, 2 books. She currently lives in Denver, Colorado. She is our Denver debut today, with a husband she met in high school and a tortoiseshell cat that has opinions about everything. Hi, Olivia. And then we have Steven Dunn with us. Steven is the author of 2 novels from Tarpaulin Sky Press, Potted Meat and Water and Power. Potted Meat has been adapted to a short film, The Usual Route, which is played at the LA International Film Festival, Houston International Film Festival, and others. Steven teaches creative writing at Regis University's Mile High MFA, and you can find him in these streets. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Steven. I think you've got some stuff to show us.
Yeah, thank you, Vinyanka. That was great. And I appreciate your note of solidarity and you acknowledging all of that. You've always been great, so I appreciate that even further. You continue to be great. So yeah, I'm going to show The Usual Route. Most people say route. I don't know. I'm country as hell, so I say route. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to show that movie. It's a 10-minute short film.
Lunchtime. We're gonna have to do this quickly. We're behind schedule because of you. Here go a little toddy for the body. Thanks, Russell. Don't think you're gonna get this free shit all the time. I know you good at math because I told you. Real estate is where it's at. These white folks been flipping it for years.
It's nice.
Fucking nice. It's about location, man.
Oh, because you bought it next to the white folks?
Kind of, but not really. It's about location. Physical in this case, not social or economic. Huh? Pay attention, little cuz. Now, in the unfortunate event of a residential fire, it's a cease job to come put it out, right? These white folks, they done fucked up and put the closest hydrant all the way at the bottom of the hill. You probably thinking they could just roll up here and put the fire out, huh?
Yeah.
Wrong. See, look, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait till wintertime. When we get a good snow, I'm gonna hold this street down. It's gonna be straight height. These white folks, they go to sleep around 6. They ain't gonna see shit.
But won't they have folks that can make?
Fuck no, man. The average width of a hose is about 50 feet. These trucks in this little ass town, they only carry about 5 hoses. And you do some math real quick, 50 times 5. Too slow, man. It's 250.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, from the hydrant to the house is about half a mile. How many feet is that?
Oh, 280 feet divided by 2.
Too slow, man. It's 2,640.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, all I paid was $3,000. I put in new floors for 2. Crazy person gonna do all the labor for a few rides. I bought new beds for the kids, big screen TVs, and all that shit. Hell, I even got mom's pictures out from old albums, and I put them in new. I gotta have the price of sentimental shit. It shows I really give a fuck about this place. Man, I'm getting so much more than what I invested in this. I got home insurance, car insurance. Shit, I even got insurance on that hot dog stand, man. All this shit is gonna burn to the ground before they even get a chance to get up here. That's if they even get up here. Thanks again, Yogi. I gotta make this run, but I'll be back tonight. Just getting what they need. The rest are probably gonna come through. Don't get that broad shit unless you pay. I made that mistake a few times myself.
He's at it again!
You got it right.
You got money? Alright, I'll be back.
29 days of starvation. They can't do that to me.
Hey, let me have a rock.
You got money?
My check don't come next week.
Alright, then come back next week.
Hold on. Please, just have rock something.
Nah.
Look, we can work something out. Please.
Come back when you got some fucking money.
Well, fuck you.
Steve?
Coach?
The fuck is you doing?
The fuck is you doing here?
Minding my motherfucking business. Where's your cousin at?
Hey, yo, I'm taking care of shit today.
Oh. Let me get a couple 8 balls then.
What you gonna do with a couple?
You gonna let me get them or not, my friend?
Oh, do you even got money?
Of course I got some money. What I look like?
All right, where are you?
Man, you got somebody out here.
No, Marissa.
Wait!
No.
Wait!
No.
I got you, baby. Hold up. Don't worry about this little snot-nosed ass nigga.
Thanks for holding down the fort now. So who rolled through?
Man, same coach, crazy person, Marissa.
Keep all that, man. You did good, shit. So you ready to keep holding down the fort on weekends, right? Making that easy cash? I know you're gonna be tired of working with Russell, but man.
It ain't too bad.
Shit.
All right. Yeah, that was it. And I'm going to read a little short piece just from the same book, not long, but just something more of kind of like the atmosphere. So just like a one-page little story. Okay, Tunnel Love. We have a brown creek that esses through next to the train tracks at the bottom of the mountain where the tunnel curves out. Sometimes you can catch a fish. I take my uncle's pole and go down to the bank, my toes sunk in mud. The best spot is right there in the middle of the curve, on top of the washing machine. I pull my shirt off and slosh out, careful not to slip on furry rocks. Use the tire to bounce up on the washing machine. The fish live under that rock. The rock wrapped in ripped pantyhose, sweatpants, and blue tarp. I sit with my line, and when the fish are about to bite, they get scared by beer cans floating down and pinging the washing machine. The tunnel spits out a train. Today it is slow and long. Gray cars carry coal piled high into rounded pyramids. Words spray painted on the sides. Words I can't read but look like flying dragons made of purple arrows, yellow bubbles, and red loops twisting all kinds of ways. Car by car by car comes out. Finally, one I can read. Plain black letters say, "Fuck you, Tamika from Yonkers, you broke my heart." All right.
Thanks, Stephen. That is so cool to have seen it and then to hear your words. You never get that really. You usually have read the book first and then see.
Oh, yeah, I didn't read the selections from that were filmed, but I thought about it. They just take too long.
Thank you for sharing with us. And I think now Olivia is going to share with us her. She's got some clips or a clip to share with us, and then we'll kind of do some Q&A after that. If that's.
Wait, hold up, Stephen. Where was that film filmed? Like
in my hometown, yeah, it was.
Okay,
filmed
I was like, that is Appalachian Mountain Range right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was filmed in Kimball, West Virginia.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna cue up my clip. Just a little heads up: the documentary that I'm going to show is about originally 15 minutes long, but for the sake of this live stream, I'm just going to show like a short snippet of it.
Supporting these people, you know, it's these people of the Wintu and Wintu's right to exist and the right of an ecosystem.
We don't see the screen yet.
Oh. Oh, sorry, I've got a couple monitors. Let's see. Can you see this? The Vimeo page? Vin?
Yep, we can see this. There we go.
You know, it's these people of the Wintu and Wintu's right to exist and the right of an ecosystem to live. You know, so to me, it's this really epic moment, and to stand here with the Wintu is important for my own person as a spiritual being and a person who is beneficiary of this ecosystem, and then also because it is this chance to do the right thing. And I'm gonna bet on the Wintu.
In the fall of 2016, the Winnemem Wintu tribe led a prayerful journey to restore their salmon runs, protect their waters, and defend their indigenous lifeways.
We know that there's a lot of issues all around the world right now. A lot of indigenous people fighting for their lives, fighting for their sacred places. We're not any different than them. Because if we don't save this waterway, we won't have water either. When they blocked the salmon from going home, they also blocked us going home on that river. When the salmon could no longer come up the river anymore, we lost all of our homes and lands on the river. And we have to raise all of this heart to be able to come together and do the best we can. So today, we're going to start this salmon.
The Run for Salmon follows an ancient salmon run, or salmon migration path, up the Sacramento River and its estuaries.
For us, the Winnemem Wintu people, we rest much of our traditions on the presence of salmon, the existence of salmon, because salmon is a gift giver. So it was important for us to start at the Delta. And we put down that dance and put down those vibrations at that place so that they would remember this.
We begin in the bay at the Gorate, a sacred site for the Miwok and Ohlone peoples and the salmon's entry point into the river system. We lay down our prayer along this path so that we can lead the salmon back to their ancestral home.
My name's Karina Gould. I'm Chochenyo and Karkin Ohlone, and it's been our honor as Ohlone people to actually be the hosts of the Winnemem Wintu as they started in our Delta area.
Chief Haley Sisk of the Winnemem Wintu has been doing work tirelessly to bring the salmon back. California Indians need to have a voice in California, and it's all of our job to make sure that that happens. We are non-federally recognized tribes, and for me, it does not matter that this government that was imposed on us recognizes me. My ancestors recognize who I am and who we are supposed to be right now. And so this work is for them.
My mother is of Native American and Puerto Rican descent. My father is.
All right, that's a short little clip.
Did you have another clip for us, Olivia, or was that?
Just that one.
Okay. Well, I've got some questions for you guys, and also anyone who has some questions, throw them up in the comments, and we'll bring them into this space too. So please do let us know what you're thinking about. But my first question is, if you guys could give us a little bit of background, each of you. I know that those projects are super different in how they started for each of you, but kind of how did those projects get started, and you know, I mean, what was the lead up, and Steven especially, how you know, how much were you involved in the production and in the transition from page to screen?
Okay, how we got started was that funny Facebook. Yeah, my friend that I went to high school with posted my book on Facebook. It was like, oh, I love this book, and then the director's mom saw his post. So she was like, hey, son, this is what you've been looking for. So he bought the book and then read it, because he's also the director is from my area, but I don't know him, or I didn't know him because he was younger than me. So it's like, yeah, we're like 10 years apart. So yeah, I never knew him, but we grew up really close to each other. And his mom, so my friend who posted the book, it was his college professor was the director's mom. So she was like, hey, check it out. And then, yeah. And then after that, I was involved a lot, like helping edit the screenplay and everything, and like helping get that together, and then getting like real life people. So my cousin there was like showing the director and everything, all the locations. And one of my other cousins did the soundtrack. And the main actor is my friends from high school's son. And the dude that plays the coach used to cut my hair when I was a kid. He was my barber. I didn't want my name to be in the movie, but he was so in the character when he came up. He was like, Steve. So, and they couldn't cut it out for some reason. So, yeah, I was like pretty involved with a lot of this processes and stuff, but I wasn't able to be there for the actual filming of it. So, yeah.
And so, so there was a separate screenwriter, and you kind of worked with the screenwriter?
Yeah, the director wrote the screenplay for the short film and also for the feature. So we're both like collaborating on both versions of it. So we're like co-writing the screenplay.
And Olivia, how did your project get started?
Yeah, I came to this project. Nako Bear, who's a musician and activist, approached the production company that I work with to film their Run for Salmon, which is a prayer kind of pilgrimage as they follow the indigenous waterways of salmon before the Shasta Dam kind of took the tribal lands from the Winnemem Wintu tribe. And it was really fun. I started my storytelling journey as a filmmaker. I went to NYU Film School. I have never taken a creative writing class, but I've taken screenwriting classes. And just to pull off like the shoot that you saw and like just the like short snippet that you saw, it's just like such backbreaking work in that clip. And I'll put the link, the rest of it in the chat. But, you know, we did kayaking, horseback, pilgrimage on foot and on bike. And it takes a village, as I'm sure Steven saw, just like with the adaptation of his book. Like it takes such a like large group of people to make these films happen. And that was the only shoot I've ever been on where I really wished I could shower because we were camping the whole time, charging our cameras on these like little tiny generators that like have like one input, and like everyone's like trying to charge their cell phone on it. And I'm like, no, like I need to charge the camera. So yeah, it was really fun. And it's been an interesting transition to writing where instead of a village, it's just like me. So I have no excuses. So yeah, it's just been an interesting journey.
That's cool. I love that we're both coming from like these other ends of the spectrum, like writing to movies, movies to writing. Is pretty cool.
Totally.
Yeah, how did you feel about it, Stephen, going the other way where it was just you writing the book and then then you entered a village?
Well, I didn't write the book by myself either, so it was kind of similar. That I wrote the book with like 4 other people. So yeah.
So that felt pretty familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wanted to follow up when Olivia said that she had never taken a creative writing class. Had you ever taken a screenwriting class at all, Stephen?
No, yeah. But I'm learning. Yeah.
Good job, because that was a great film.
Thank you.
There are a couple of questions from the chat I'm going to go ahead and bring in here. So Chris was asking, did you intend to do a film adaptation before, or had that been something that you were thinking about at all? And then can you tell us a little bit more about the feature film?
No, I didn't intend to do a film adaptation. The book was already out for like two years before that even came. But a lot of people who were reading it was like, this could be a good film. You know, I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe that'll happen one day, you know, so. But I hadn't given it any serious thought. And yes, there's a feature in development right now. I mean, not being filmed, but we're doing the screenplay and trying to get funding. So that was the purpose of the short film / proof of concept, is to get it around the film festivals and then hopefully turn it into a feature. So we'll see. I don't know.
I mean, it looked pretty ready. I actually wanted. I was like, oh, wait, I want more. So. You did your job. Oh, there is another question here. So Patricia asked, I haven't read the story yet, Stephen, but is it accurate to observe that there are some classic horror tropes in the film? And if so, was that tonally specific to your story, or was it a decision made by the director?
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of those as horror tropes.
I'm like, that's just what Appalachia looks like.
Yeah, that's just kind of, yeah, this is where we grow up. Yeah, because you're from Virginia, right, Olivia? Yeah. What part of Virginia are you from?
I grew up in Northern, but I moved down to Richmond, and my husband was in Blacksburg, so it's like.
Yeah, and that's like right across the border from my town. So Bluefield is like right there.
Nice.
But yeah, that's just kind of where we like, and we picked the fall because of the decay of fall. So not like at the peak of beautiful fall. It's like the ass end of fall where it's starting to turn into winter. So so yeah, it was tonally specific to the book, but not necessarily horror in mind, even though it can be read like that. Yeah.
Another layer that you now you have something to bring into your screenplay for for the future. Well, I'm kind of curious about process, and I love that we're getting to hear it like from both ends of it. So yeah, so obviously both of you are storytellers, and you just kind of started in one place and have taken that to a different place. But so I wonder, you know, kind of what is the process? What are the differences in the process for you when you're starting? When you know it's going to be visual versus when you know it's going to be on a page. Maybe Olivia, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So my the first book that I got a book deal for was actually a screenplay that I had originally written. And I adapted it. Yeah. So the process was different in that a screenplay, it is interesting. I do think a screenplay is just like a good outline for a book because the dialogue is there and the mood is there, but the internal machinations or things that you have to fill out in prose. And yeah, it was really interesting going like in that direction. What was really fun is that also in a screenplay, like, you know, because I started as a screenplay for my book Twin Flames that's coming out next year, one of the characters gets the ability to teleport. And I chose that because in my mind, like my film mind, I'm like, you know what's one of the cheapest superpowers besides mind reading? Teleportation. Because like you just have a camera locked down and someone's suddenly there. And like, no matter what, like this is going to be a cheap superpower, like not flames shooting from their eyes. Like I'm not made of money, but like I can write teleportation. And then going from screenplay to book, I'm like, you know what? Maybe they can teleport to Asia. It's like in my head, it really opens things up and I'm not limited to budget or scope. And I can like really swing for the fences, which I know if you're a writer, maybe that like didn't even occur to you, but when you're trying to get a movie made, like, you know, the smaller the scope, the easier it'll be to pull off or like fundraise for. So yeah, it was just a really cool process, just giving myself that permission, but also having started with the discipline to just make a really small world and then expand it later.
Wow.
Yeah. So Steven, what are your thoughts on differences in process?
So I was a painter prior to being a writer, and I thought I was going to major in film also. So I took some film classes, but hadn't quite reached the screenwriting portion of it. So I think I kind of write in that way anyway, like this very visual, like quick cuts. And I also teach classes on like applying film techniques to writing, right? Like how do you make a long sentence feel like a tracking shot, or, you know, like, or dolly zoom or whatever. So like actual like tangible techniques and how to apply those to writing. So I think I write in those kind of things a lot anyway. And I don't do a lot of interiority too sometimes because I want people to kind of like fill it out. And so yeah, well, in this book specifically, there wasn't a lot of maybe there was. I don't know. I didn't think there was, but maybe there was. Yeah, there wasn't like he thought this, blah, blah, blah. Like there wasn't much of that going on. So yeah, that was the process for me. And then some things changed to the filming. So the director was like, wow, all of the instructions are already here. And my writing is kind of sparse anyway, or a little minimalist. So I think it was like an easy transition to that. So sometimes when I'm writing the screenplay, I'm like, I'm going to do my best not to copy and paste my book. Like, so I'll try to like actually write it over and see if there's anything else that can be done. So instead of just copying and pasting, like translating my own book into screenplay form and see what else I need to do. So
I don't know. It sounds like you're making too much work for yourself, Steven. You already wrote it like a screenplay.
I know it's weird to like rewrite your book, but talking about Olivia's like expenses. So the cat in that film, in the book, it's a raccoon that's like chewing on a baby shoe and everything, but that was like too tricky to pull off. So they were like, yeah, we're going to find this famous raccoon that can do stuff, you know, but it was like, you know, this is for the short film. We'll put like a cat in there, you know, and there's a dead deer that's in the film and everything. So it's like a still life, you know, that shot at the end. But so I was like, man, I wish there could have been the raccoon, you know, that was, would have been nice, but you have to give on some things.
Maybe in the feature film you'll get the raccoon.
But like, I know what you mean, because like to get the raccoon, you need to pay the raccoon handler, and it's probably a half day or a full day rate. And then if you have a raccoon that's trained to do something, then you usually need like the PETA sign off, and then you need like a PETA rep on the. So like your raccoon is going to cost you like $4,000 for like a 10-second shot. And as a writer, it's nice that you're there because you can be like, okay, well, like how can we retool this? You know, how can we tell the same story or like get the same mood across, but with a different animal?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that actually leads into this question that just came in from the comments, which is how different was the look of the movie compared to your own image of the story? And I would kind of expand on that for both of you. Just sort of, you know, do you have one set image in your? Yeah, we got.
Oh, it was exactly for me.
That needs to happen.
Yeah, it was
happening.
Guardians of the Galaxy rocket.
Yes,
we're waiting.
Yeah, the image of the story, the image of the movie was perfect for mine because it was my hometown and it was like the exact trash route that I used to work as a trash truck dude. So it was like the exact route and everything. And so yeah, it was all perfect for me. Even like the little trap house. I hate to call it trap house. The residential area where one may be trapping. No. So yeah, it was spot on for me. Yeah.
Do you, Olivia, do you ever feel like you start with, you know, the story in your head and there's a specific image that, does it always end up kind of translating the way that you think it will? Or do you get into the moment in filming and realize that you're having to make kind of adjustments, you know, in that kind of way to make the imagery sort of more aligned with what you were trying to set up?
Oh my gosh, totally. Just being on a film shoot means, you know, you make your little storyboards and you think this is how it's going to look. And then you show up and maybe there's a better shot, number one, and there's a better vision, or there might be bad weather, or, you know, a building that you thought was there before has construction. So you always have to be really flexible and, yeah, just kind of be able to work on the fly. And I think what's good as a writer is that if you're on a film shoot and those things happen, you're editing in your head, okay, well, if this is changing, how will it affect the story here and here and all these threads that I think novelists kind of hold in their head. It's the same on a film shoot when you're like, okay, well, I don't have this shot. I need to establish where we are, you know, like in the story. How can I still get that shot across, or like that visual? Maybe it's a different way. Maybe we have an aerial shot. Maybe we go to a different neighborhood. So yeah, honestly, Ben, like my vision never is what I thought it would be, but it's usually better. And if it's not what I like, then you know what? Great music, I believe, solves everything.
Hey, good. You know, but I wonder sometimes if in your writing, if you ever have like plot lines that, you know, you had visioned a certain way and then you get to actually writing the words and you kind of have to make similar shifts in the way that you're setting the scene.
Totally. And I feel like for my process, like it does start with music for me and the visuals that like music will get across. And I think my goal as a novelist is to make like the bookiest book possible. Like, what is a story that can only be told as a book? And when it comes to film, it's like, what is a story that can like only really make sense in a movie? Because sometimes I see movies where I'm like, dude, I could have read that, like, or like, you know, why didn't I just read that dialogue on a page? Or sometimes I'll read a book where I'm like, like this is sparse and I think it'd be a better movie. So yeah, when it comes to my writing, I will kind of start with the bare bones of like a screenplay, if you will. But yeah, then I got to go in and do the work. And something that I really like doing is, even though I'm like editing on a computer and I prefer to write on a computer, sometimes just like reading my book on like a Kindle before it gets published or anything. So I know like what's like one of the ways that people are going to interact with this final form, right? Like, even though it's just my Word doc, it's nothing like formatted. It's like, this is how people might experience it. Cause like, it's the same way when I'm editing a documentary, like you got to go into a theater and like play your film before anybody else sees it to make sure that it feels right to you. So even just when I hold my book that way, it's like, you know what, like this doesn't read the same way I thought it did, or In the movie theater, you're like, no, like no one's going to notice this like 2-second cut. So yeah, like it really just, I think I always have the medium in mind as I'm working on the story.
All right, that's some straight up perfectionism. I love read it. I've read your book before it was published on a Kindle, and I have to say, I'm not sure if that's what I was thinking. Steven, any quirks like that? Are you holding your pages?
No. Yeah, no, I don't have any. That's some. Yeah, I was like, wow, I need to start doing that. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So yeah, I'll just listen to that. Yeah, I don't have any of those.
Well, it sounds like your writing is already, it's like visual in your own head. So you're already, how did you end up, I guess, how did you end up from visual arts to writing? I mean, how did you decide that was the medium to get across your art?
I had an art show downtown in like 2006. And I prepared for like a year for this art show, and it didn't really feel right. But I was like, "Oh, I'm an artist. This is what I do. I'm going to push through this shit." And at the art opening, my wife, she was my girlfriend back then. She was like, "You ever notice how many words you have on your paintings?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I didn't really like know. Like I knew they were there, but I didn't really get it until she said that. So from that moment, I was like, "Oh, I should be a writer." So I started writing. That was it. Yeah, one moment. Yeah, I was never like a big reader growing up or anything like that. So yeah, that's what did it. Yeah.
Sounds like you're always doing the next thing before. So you were writing in your painting, and then you were screenwriting in your books.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think, Vin, you're forgetting the most important point here is that writing a book is way cheaper than buying materials for art or for films.
Oh my God, it's been so nice. Yeah.
I'm like, I just need a pen and paper and like, you know, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
That is no joke. And speaking of, you know, easy ways to for all of us to be seen on page and representation, I just have to share. I thought this is pretty funny. Brian was talking about he didn't even know there were Black people in the Appalachian Mountains. So representing, Steven.
A lot of people tell me that too. I was like, there's Black people in West Virginia, and yes, there are. I mean, it's not in Southern West Virginia. There's a lot, but famous people. Bill Withers is from West Virginia. Randy Moss, right? So like, we all grew up like an hour, you know, within an hour of each other. But that's also what we're doing with this, like what I'm doing with the movie too. In the book is like, hey, Black people live here, and for the movie, we're like, there's no current like movies about contemporary Black life in West Virginia. We're often forgotten about when it comes to West Virginians talking about West Virginia. And, you know, so like almost half of my town was Black, you know. I mean, it was only 500 people, but still, it was like still really Black, you know, like my schools were all Black. I had a lot of Black teachers. So it's like a, you know, but people came up to work in the coal mines from like Alabama and Louisiana and stuff. So yeah, Black folks in West Virginia.
I mean, it does sound a little bit like, what are you talking about? Where is this place?
Yeah, people don't really care about West Virginia anyway, but then it's like to think that there's like Black people there too. So it's like, oh.
Okay, but now you need that feature to be made because West Virginia is gorgeous and like people gotta know.
Yes. Yeah.
The filming was beautiful. I just want it to be all that. Is it all, I mean, that moody, dark, starry sky, it just, I want it to all be filmed under that.
Yeah, a lot of it is like that. I mean, then there's like the ugly shit, like the thing I was reading about the polluted river and shit like that, and the coal mines fucked up shit. And so, yeah, it's ugly also, but there's like, it's mostly beautiful. Yeah.
Well, earlier, Olivia, you were talking about, you know, music and your writing. I'm kind of curious if you guys have like soundtracks in your head for your films, and is that kind of what you're listening to when you're writing, or are you listening to totally different things than the mood that actually ends up getting set on screen?
I am such a shill for Spotify. I don't know how it just finds music for me that I'll love, but for my process, I'll usually have an idea and then I'll listen to songs that like help flesh it out, and then I'll make a playlist for, you know, different drafts. And like even today I was like listening to the soundtrack I'd made for Perfectly Parvin that's coming out. It was like an older version, and I was like, this isn't the same book anymore. Or usually I have like one song that for me like encapsulates just like the feel of the book. Like that, for every book I've ever worked on, there's like one song where I'm like, that is what I'm trying to get across. Maybe the lyrics like have nothing to do with like the plot, but like just that vibe. And like I was listening to like the one song that like works for Perfectly Parvin, and like the lyrics now like they hit better because I made edits to the book that like are closer to like that story. So it helps me a lot. I can't listen to that song like while I'm working. I have to go on walks. Or like I remember there's a song from the Spider-Man soundtrack, Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, and like that's like the song for like another project I'm working on, and it came on like in the gym, and I was like, oh man, like I don't want to work right now. Like I'm on break, because it's just so like visceral. And like, that was just such a visual movie that was gorgeous. But I will say it's also a really handy tool if you have just different playlists for your different works, because sometimes, you know, I have to switch between stories, or like I can't like draft on one novel, or like I need to move on to like another one. And it's just really easy to have that tool in my arsenal to be like, okay, like I got to get back in this mindset. Like, how do I do that? You know, there isn't like a perfume that can like remind me of my book, right? Like this is like my one, like this is like the one thing that I have that can like get me back to a space in my head.
Wow.
Steven, any thoughts on the music that you're listening to when you're writing?
Yeah, I have like very specific memories of music in that song. So let's say in the film there, like I would remember what music my cousin was listening to when, you know, in that time frame of when we were having that conversation and stuff. So those things are in my head. And when my other cousin did the soundtrack for the film, he sent me like, what are your songs? So he knew like the time frame and everything in the area also. So then like the original music he made for the soundtrack like ended up being better than the music I had in my head for the movie. Where I was like, wow, like how did you do? You know, yeah, it's Shamir Lee. He's out of North Carolina, out of Greensboro, and he just. Wow. Yeah, he did. I was like, wow, this is really great. So yeah, but yeah, other than that, like I have trouble like multitasking. So yeah, I don't listen to stuff while I'm writing or anything. But
yeah, I usually have to turn something on before I work and then turn it off. I'm very much like I don't know how to concentrate with music blaring, and this doesn't work for me.
I can't even run and listen to music. This is a shame. It's like.
Yeah. But wait, then that means that you're focusing on the running, and that's the worst part of running.
The worst part of running. Sorry, I know that Steven has got to run, and so we're going to wrap up here just a few minutes early today. But I got to leave us again with that's everyone's writing prompt for the day. Come back and let us know how that goes.
That's what we need, a teleporting raccoon. That's yeah.
And between Olivia and Steven, we'll put it in a movie. So thank you everyone who came out today. I just want to say one more time, Margins is happening. It is August 1st and 2nd. Find out more about it on thewordfordiversity.org. Also, today is our very, very last day for our Kickstarter. So anyone who, you know, has anything to throw in the pot, like every single dollar helps us do a little bit more and uplift voices just that much more, which I think we're all kind of wanting to do at the moment. So thank you guys. Thank you so much, Olivia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Olivia. I loved hearing yours.
You too, Steven.
Talk later. Yeah.
Take care, everybody.
Bye,
y'all.